Good Tuesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. We have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with comedian and actor Scott Grimes, discussing his amazing career and the show American Dad. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In international news, Ukraine claws back more territory Russia is trying to absorb. Ukrainian forces scored more gains in their counteroffensive across at least two fronts on Monday, advancing in the very areas that Russia is trying to absorb and challenging Moscow's effort to engage fresh troops and its threats to defend incorporated areas by all means. In their latest breakthrough, Ukrainian forces penetrated Moscow's defenses in the strategic southern Kherson region, one of the four areas in Ukraine that Russia is in the process of annexing. Kiev's troops also consolidated gains in the east and other major battlefields, reestablishing Ukrainian control, just as Russian President Putin is trying to overcome problems with manpower, weapons, troop morale, and logistics, along with intensifying domestic and international criticism. Putin faces disarray and anger domestically about his partial troop mobilization and confusion about the establishment of new Russian borders. Ukraine's advances have become so apparent that even the Russian Defense Ministry, who usually focuses on its military successes and the enemy's losses, was forced to acknowledge it. With numerically superior tank units in the direction of Zalota, the enemy managed to forge deep into our defenses, the defense minister said on Monday, referring to two towns in the Kherson region. He coupled that with claims that Russian forces inflicted heavy losses on Ukraine's military. Ukrainian forces have struggled to retake the Kherson region due to its open terrain, in contrast to the successful breakout offensive in the northeast around the country's second largest city. Ukraine has pressed its counteroffensive in the Kherson region since the summer, relentlessly pummeling Russian supply lines and making inroads into Russian-held areas west of the Dnieper River. The Ukrainian military has used U.S.-supplied multiple rocket launchers to repeatedly hit the main bridge across the Dnieper and a dam that served as a second crossing. It also has struck pontoon bridges that Russia has used to supply its troops. In national news, Supreme Court welcomes the public again and a new justice. The Supreme Court began its new term on Monday with a new justice on the bench, the public back in the courtroom, in a spirited debate in a case that pits environmental protections against property rights. The new member of the court, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, wasted no time engaging, asking questions throughout nearly 2 hours of arguments in a dispute over the nation's main anti-war pollution law, the Clean Water Act. Jackson, the court's first black female justice, seemed to be generally aligned with the court's other liberal justices in favor of the Justice Department's arguments to preserve the authority of the federal government to regulate wetlands under the Clean Water Act against a business-backed challenge. If Jackson was eager to show she was ready to participate, several conservative justices also provided a quick reminder of the balance of power on a court where they hold a 6-3 majority. They asked questions that were more skeptical of the regulation in a case that tests the reach of the law beyond rivers, lakes, and streams. One issue in the case is how far wetlands can be from a larger body of water and still be subject to regulation. In more national news, Biden tells Puerto Ricans he's committed to this island. President Joe Biden promised to rebuild it all after arriving in Puerto Rico on Monday to survey damage from Hurricane Fiona, as tens of thousands of people remain without power 2 weeks after the storm hit. "I'm committed to this island," he said after receiving a briefing from local officials, acknowledging that Fiona was only the latest in a string of disasters that have battered the U.S. territory in recent years. "Puerto Ricans are a strong people," Biden said, "but even so, you have had to bear so much, and more than need be, and you haven't gotten the help in a timely way." Hurricane Fiona knocked out electrical power to the U.S. territory of 3.2 million people, 44% of whom live beyond the poverty line. What happened with this hurricane is that even though it was a Category 1 in terms of water, it was like Category 4, Puerto Rico's governor told Biden. In entertainment news, Apple to release Emancipation with Will Smith in December. After holding it in limbo, Apple has announced that it will release actor Will Smith's next big project, Emancipation, this December. Emancipation, a $120 million runaway slave thriller, has had an uncertain future. One of Apple's most high-profile productions yet, the film had once been expected to be an Oscar contender this year. Apple TV announced on Monday that it will debut Emancipation on December the 2nd in theaters, and begins streaming it December the 9th. And finally, in business news, Wall Street soars to best day since summer, S&P 500 up 2.6%. Stocks on Wall Street rallied to their best day in months on Monday after falling bond yields eased some of the pressure that's been battering markets. The S&P 500's leap of 2.6% was its biggest since July, the latest swing for a scattershot market that's been mostly falling this year on worries about a possible global recession. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Tuesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Each season brings its share of rain, but know that rain can serve many purposes. Just as it might accompany the dark clouds of despair, it can wash away the hurt and feelings of unworthiness that might be holding you down. Don't run from the storm. Let it do its work. Have an amazing Tuesday. Scott Grimes is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight right here on Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with Entertainment Spotlight. Actor and comedian Scott Grimes joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the success of the show American Dad, but also his career. Is a bit of our conversation.
Scott, what has it been like for you to see the success of the show over the years?
It's been a gift behind the eight ball a bit, because 7, 8, 9 seasons, even up till 2 seasons ago, everyone's been saying we're going to get, this is the last season, So to finally see this show find a really cool place in animation history is, it's for all the people that work way harder than me. I just applaud them that they get to take a bow. So it's been really, really nice to watch people embrace this show.
Yeah. And a lot of this seems to be a couple of things, Scott. One, of course, the talented cast, but also, I think, really resonating and giving people something to laugh and think about. I want to talk about the cast with you for a second, because you guys really seem to be like a family. Does that make it an added bonus for you as an actor to not only do what you love, but also to do it with people that you love being around?
That's exactly right. I mean, I'm a fan of everybody on this show, personally and professionally. I've been watching Wendy Shaw, who plays Francine, for my entire life. In these beautiful 80s movies, she's been Dee Bradley Baker, who plays Klaus, is one of the most talented actors around. Rachel McFarlane, who I've known because she's Seth's sister, but also what a talent. And it's also like Seth's choice to cast maybe some actors that do get along as a family in real life, that shows or you can hear within the voices, because that's rare. And we do table reads to like a theater production, to make sure the show works as a thing. So we treat it almost like a sitcom, but except we don't film it.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversation Daily News. We'll be back to get on tomorrow for more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversation Daily News today. Now let's go make it a great one.